fever. But it was just an amazing story of tenacity and perseverance. And so I went to, people ask me, like, how'd you get involved in this? And I went to Haiti right after the big earthquake. There's been several since, but the big one, and took that pictures. And then ended up that summer going to this little village called Bondo, which is about 3 hours west of Port-au-Prince on the northern coast of the southern peninsula. And so this is what it's like in Haiti today. There's no bread on the shelves. That rack should be full of bread, and it's not. And there's other things going on. They assassinated the president, I think now 2 years ago. Hurricanes are a common thing. There was huge flooding in the south this week. Another earthquake hit at the very tip of that peninsula on, I think it was Wednesday. You've heard about the environmental degradation, and because they use charcoal to cook their food, they cut the trees down to make the charcoal. The Episcopal Diocese of Haiti has not had a bishop since 2018, and that's led to all kinds of mischief and corruption and bad behavior from the clergy. And kidnapping, like it's just shocking to me how that's a standard business practice now, to kidnap somebody and hold them for ransom. So I took this picture near the airport. Bondo is right on the highway, and there's a guest house there, which is comfortable and has screens on the windows to keep the mosquitoes out when you sleep, and they serve like 3 amazing Haitian meals every day. So it's actually quite relatively comfortable to go there when it's safe. It's not safe right now. So that was my then fiance, now wife, Jenny, when we built this playground back in 2011. The kids run to church. This is literally they run to church, and they dress up. It's everybody dresses up for church. So church is a big part of life there. And so when we asked them, what are the things that we could do to help you, what would be most valuable, they said, build us a church, because we were worshiping in this classroom that was way too small. And they also said, well, we have this whole other list of things like clean water and health care and helping to build the school. And what I love about going to the same place over and over again is getting to know the people, and the kids, of course, is a big part of that. So this young man is named Gibson, who was, when I met him, like a surly preteen, not particularly interested in going to church, kind of cranky, gave me a hard time that first summer. Here he is just a few years ago. He's leader of the Acolytes. He plays trombone in the school band, and he wants to be a priest. And he was an amazing student. He's in university now, and he is also I said he wants to be a priest. He's also an amazing soccer player. Gastina was dying of starvation when we met her, just like this big around, and here she is on the right, here and here, a beautiful young woman in nursing school right now. And then this is Benjamin and his sister Angie, and here they are that was 2021. So I get to see them grow up, and I get to know their parents, and it's very special. And so when I said before that, I know people who are starving, it's true. So this was the classroom we were worshiping in, and so, they would fill it regularly. And in 2011, this picture, the bishop, then bishop, dedicated this kind of cornerstone for the church, and then this is what we built. It was consecrated in 2015. It seats 1,000 people. It's an amazingly beautiful church. This was the first worship service that in 2015. And so this is a very big part of the community of Bondo. What happened was, here's the school that's associated. Every church in Haiti, every Episcopal church has a school. That was Bishop Holly's model. So this is Good Samaritan School in Bondo. They have 350 kids from pre-K to 12th. They have not only the flag raising, but they do the national anthem, and you can see Gibson playing the trombone there. And so there was another community just farther west, about 30 minutes down the road, called Martel. It's spelled with an R, but it's pronounced Martel. And they said, well, we need a school, we need a church, we've got nothing. And so here we are sitting down talking to them about how we could do that. This was back in 2016. And so we, scouted out the land, and there was a couple of families that had some land in that town of my town. Town is a loose term. It's a village of farmers. And so it's right on the coast, though. You can see the ocean there. It's quite beautiful. And so they donated 10 acres to the Diocese of Haiti and said, can you help us build the school and the church? So here's the first class in this plywood, sheet metal, and 2x4 building that they built that building, actually. Here's the first worship service. And we called it St. Luke's Episcopal Church and School. So we got some grants, we got some money, we built this 3-classroom building that at the time also served for worship, so it was able to expand and become, it had pocket doors that we could open. We've since closed those doors off because it was too noisy, because the kids, could hear each other and it was distracting. So here's some of those kids. We now have 120 kids, grades pre-K through 7th. In September, the plan is to go up to 8th grade, add another grade, and then ideally, if, in a perfect world, we would add a grade level every year. It hasn't quite been that way, but, we started at K through 2, and now we're up to K through 8, or going to be K through 8. So here's what it looked like when the doors were open. Father Fanol, Jean-Berthold Fanol, is our colleague and partner and my friend that I've been working with for 11 years now. He is a good man, and he's a faithful leader of the church. And he, what can I say about him? I would say the reason this works is partly because of him, because we trust him, and you can't say that about every Haitian priest, unfortunately. But he's very much of an evangelist and a church planter. So what we're doing in many ways is just supporting his efforts to plant this church in Mattel from Bondo, from Good Samaritan Church in Bondo. So he goes there once a month to do worship, and then the other 3 weeks of the month they have morning prayer, lay-led morning prayer. So again, it's quite inspiring. The school, all the kids wear uniforms, and so this is what the school looks like. We feed the kids too, and this is important because Father Fanol says that the first thing the kids look for when they get to school is whether or not the kitchen's open and if they're going to get food, because it's, often they don't get food at home before they come to school. There have been like earthquake after earthquake. This one was in 2021, I think August 14th. So we're here. We're about here, and that was the epicenter. This was a big one, and we were in the process of building our next building. Thankfully, we were able to kind of clean it up, and then, but this was not unexpected. Like, this is, it's a seismic area, we know that, so we built these buildings to be withstanding earthquakes and hurricanes, and God, so far, thank God, it's been okay. So this was the original building. This is now the new hall/classroom building. When I took this picture in 2021, they hadn't even finished painting it. And here we are in the first service in that building. The women's choir, they were so happy. Then the family that donated the land, this is Benita Maudelaire, Mrs. Nelson, who's the director of the school, and Jean-Baptiste. So those are siblings from the Mistal family. So when we first got there and had that conversation sitting in the yard that I showed that photo, their mom said to us, she like wagged her finger, she's right. Americans have come there and made lots of promises, and she said, you better, be true to your word. And it was on this trip that she happened to be in Canada when she left this message, but she said, repeatedly, thank you. This is really so important and a miracle, and she was so grateful to us. Another earthquake in 2022. This one destroyed the latrine that we had right in that same area. But, class continues. So they have earthquakes and hurricanes and, political assassinations and kidnapping, and yet the school keeps going. We built another building that we opened last fall, and we have plans for another building, which is going to be classrooms, latrine, and some administrative offices. And, as I said, we want to build it so that whenever the next earthquake hits, we're ready. Because it's not safe for us to go there, Father Faunold's been coming up here, and this is the two of us up in Hyde Park at St. James in Hyde Park. They built in the narthex like a little diorama based on some of the photos because I send out like a monthly, every other month email, and I'll add you, Christine, if you like. Some churches choose to take that link and put it into their e-newsletter. That would be great. We went to the Oculus and to the top of the World Trade Center. He loved it. He was so happy. So here are our partner parishes. There's actually 18 of them now, and we've gotten a couple of recent additions. So the New Rochelle, they have a collaborative of churches that they've just joined us. St. Matthew in Bedford has recently joined us. They may not even be on this list. Yeah, there they are. And so my question, and what I would say, is that we invite you all to become a partner of the New York Haiti Project and to be part of this. What does that mean? What are we asking for? The number one thing Father Faunold asks is that you do what you did today, which is to put St. Luke's Episcopal Church and School in Mattel in your intercessory prayers. Pray for them. Pray during worship. If you have morning prayer, pray for them then. That is powerful. There's also a financial invitation to help support the school. How much? Well, it's up to you and what you can afford. You're a new church plant, so it may start off as not a whole lot, which is fine. But what we look for is partners that are going to be with this kind of medium to long term. So what some of our parishes did at the beginning was make a 5-year pledge. It can be so often what happens, groups will start with a smaller amount, like perhaps, $750 a year, or $1,000 a year, and then they get up to, a higher number. Our total payroll for the school is $3,500 per month. And so that's why we have all those churches, because that, they help. Some churches give a whole lot. Some churches give less. So it's really what you can afford. We don't have any overhead, I don't take a salary for my job. That will probably change at some point because we're getting to be bigger, and it's, it's not just like some cute little ministry now. This is a real thing. And so here's one of the things we did. Well, it's always been a real thing, but you know what I mean. It's grown because it's making a difference, huge. In March, we did a food packing event, and we had 300 volunteers from 21 different parishes, which, if you do the math, you can see not all of them were members of the New York Haiti Project or partners. So it was so much fun, and next year, I assume we're going to do it again. We have shifts, and you sign up for a 2-hour shift or so. There's a DJ, and it's fun, and people are dancing while they're, packing the meals. It's dried rice, beans, soy, and vitamins. All of it goes into a little 6-meal bag. Those bags go into a box. Those boxes go onto a pallet, and then we had 4+ pallets that we shipped off to Haiti. And here's our 2 members of our vestry, Thomas and Giselle. After we had packed these and put them out onto the sidewalk, and then had the truck come by, and we shipped 51,000 plus meals to Haiti. It arrived in Haiti. That's the good news. The bad news is it's not safe for it to leave customs yet, and to make that 3-hour trip to go out to the school. So it's going to get there. It's just a matter of time. We have, faith. We have faith. So that's why these are the people we do this for. These young people, the teachers. This is such a blessing to do this work, and I long for the day to return. And that's, I would say, the third thing, when it's safe, if there's a group that feels called to come with me and to go down to this place, it's amazing. And it really, just like you were saying, it is life-changing. It changed my life to go and see this beautiful, heartbreaking place. So, I'm going to stop there, open it up for comments, questions, conversation.
What's the locals there, what's their feeling about the work that you were all doing? Are they welcoming of it? Are they?
So I was really interested in that question. So everybody hear the question, what do the locals feel about this? So there was this guy in a green shirt one time, and I asked him that question. What do you think about us coming here? And he was on horseback at the time, and his brother was clearing some brush, and they both stopped, and they looked at me, and they said, we believe you were sent by God to be here with us. And I had chills when he said it, and he said, you give us hope, and I actually got it on film. I got a little film of him saying this. He said, you were sent by God to be with us. So they love having us there. I think we do it, we do mostly right. I mean, global mission work is messy, and it's not, short-term mission trips are there's all kinds of weird dynamics of, culture and race and class and money, and all of that is challenging, and we make mistakes a lot. I will just freely admit that, and we do a lot of good. So I think they see that, and they're, I think they're desperate. So when they see people that are Americans, it's a sign of hope. Yeah.
Kind of in line with that, when you were talking about the work that you do down there, you mentioned that we asked them what they needed, and it seems like that's kind of a default posture for your ministry. Is that?
Absolutely. So I mentioned that first earthquake happened when I was in seminary, and so I actually, at the end of my seminary time, got to study about mission and look at what's worked and what's not worked, and doing things for people doesn't work. It's the give a man a fish kind of that doesn't work. To the extent that we can, we seek to be with the people rather than doing for the people. And so the first thing we did when we started this was build a grain mill for the farmers to be able to grind their grain, which is corn and millet, in the town, in the village, rather than going an hour or so down the road. And it was a failure. It didn't work, and I still don't really understand why, but the grain mill is still there, and that possibility is there, which could provide a job for somebody, the miller, and revenue for the school. So that's our hope, is that at some point we would be able to have the school somewhat self-sustaining. It's a complicated thing. It's just not all, oh yeah, we're going to stand with the people. Well, yes, and they can't pay their own tuition for their kids. Some can, so when he sends me the monthly statement of the money receipts and disbursements, so about $100 to $150 a month comes from the parents. So that's out of 120 kids. So there's something, but it's not nearly enough to keep the school going. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Other questions?
What percentage of the kids also actually make it to graduation, and what you showed us the best case scenario there, but what
Yeah.
is the average case scenario?
I don't really know yet, because the school's only up to 8th grade right now, so we're kind of still writing the story. I will say in Bondo, so there's a national test that happens at graduation. The passing rate on that test is extremely high, in the mid 90%. So they're getting a good education. Father Fonnell makes all the decisions about hiring, curriculum, or he and the director of the school. So we don't make those decisions, but he tells us that because we pay a little premium on salaries, which is shockingly low still, but it's higher than other schools. They get a little bit better teacher, and they're able to, really teach these kids. So we'll see what the, success rate's going to be at St. Luke's. Yeah. Other questions?
When was the last time you were there?
2021, I went by myself. Do you remember when those 17 missionaries were kidnapped? So I was there when that happened. Out in the countryside. I wasn't right with them, but so my phone was blowing up. My wife was going crazy, and not crazy. She was concerned, and I was perfectly safe. But it's just not. Oh, and I got COVID down there, which was like great. So I used to go at least twice a year and take like 3 or 4 people or more in a group, and we stay at the guest house and we go out to Mattel and we, worship, and and we come home, and it's like, wow. We haven't been able to do that. So, and the trips are usually like, 7 to 9 days. So it's not like a long trip. It's usually enough to kind of dip your toe into the life there, come back affected and with some stories. We're not going to change the world. But I think it's more for us to go down there, like it was for you. Yeah. Yes.
So are classes in French?
French and Creole. So the Creole is the spoken language. It used to be the teachers were very strict, and if you spoke in Creole in class, you got punished. They've relaxed that. So, but the lessons are mostly in French.
Okay, second part to my question. I guess being Anglican, which is basically from the Anglo
Right.
culture, are there a lot of Anglican churches in Haiti, or is the Anglican faith there embedded in any way, or because I always thought it was primarily Catholic?
It is primarily Catholic, and the Episcopal Church, the Anglican Church, is very strong there. It's the largest Episcopal diocese in the Episcopal Church, the Diocese of Haiti, which I think there's something like 100,000 members, which is a drop in the bucket for 11 million people in Haiti. But it's there's 200 parishes. Each one has a school all around the country. So it's a big part of the nation. And I would say, kind of like in the U.S., that the way the Episcopal Church, we have a kind of an oversized influence on the society as compared with just a standalone parish. You know what I mean? I think the Episcopal Church actually has, we have more ability to influence than perhaps we give ourselves credit for. I think that's true in Haiti too. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, but
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I think especially in Haiti, I really appreciate the way that it really is kind of putting your money where your mouth is, and just hearing you talk about what the Episcopal Church has done in Haiti versus the missions trip that I was a part of. So there's this this whole Christian Canadians who has this spoof about short-term missions trips, and they're in some poor country, and the short-term missions team has brought smoothie machines, and it's things that and that was totally we were just, I didn't even know what we were doing, but we clearly had our own idea of what we felt big missions needed, which was not it at all. But I feel like when you show up with food and education and really putting kind of flesh and bones on the words that you're saying, that is really influential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too, and I think it's also building the body of Christ, because the Diocese of Haiti is Province 2 in the Episcopal Church, and guess who else is in Province 2? The Diocese of New York. And so we're actually in the same, in terms of polity, we're in the same area, the same group. We use the same liturgy, just a different language. Even the hymns have the same tune, but with either French or Creole lyrics. So, like, if you went to and didn't speak a word of French or Creole, and you went to a service in Mattel, you would know exactly where you are in the service. And I think that's important, because it's yes, we're going there to help them with their struggles in life, but they help us with our struggles in life too, because we're a mess. And like, they regularly, I get messages from Father Fonald when there's a thing going on up here, whatever it might be, we're praying for you. Like, how cool is that, to think like it's not just them that needs prayer, but like we need it too. So it really, to me, it puts things in perspective to be in relationship with them. So, good question. Last thing I want to say, or unless you want to talk more, but what I was thinking is, this ministry gives a church like St. Peter's that has 50 to 100 people on a Sunday a chance to do global mission in a way they couldn't do if they were a standalone parish. So I kind of consider myself like your missionary in a way. Like, I'd come back, say once a year if Christine will have me back. I like to say it's one thing to be invited to preach, it's another to be invited back to preach. So if you invite me back, I'll come and give you like an update of what's going on and share that. And there's like monthly regular updates. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be a partner in the New York Haiti Project to get all that, but like, it's fun, and I think it's important work, and it's something that you all, it changes you. I've seen it happen at St. James, that church in Hyde Park. Like, that church there's a new spirit there. I won't say it's because of us, but we're part of it. We're part of that kind of revitalization. And so, you all have had a lot of people coming in together from All Angels and Heavenly Rest, and Michael from General Seminary, and you've done this cool thing, and like, what an amazing story you have. Like, now, like, where's God calling you all? Is it to this tiny village in Haiti? I hope, maybe. So we'll see.
What I really love about this project is, like, to your point about being the body of Christ, it's like different churches often have their own separate things that they support, but I really love the fact that, like, you've really, like, gotten like a whole crew of New York churches together to
Right.
focus on one place. I think that's really amazing.
Thanks. I do too, and I don't take credit for that, by the way. If you wonder, like, how can he be here when, like, where's his church? We worship at 2:00, and so I get to like drive from here to the Bronx and do it all in French and Creole, and preach the same sermon in Creole. So.
Actually, Sam, can you tell them the story about the church building? And then
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that's such a cool story.
You mean in the Bronx?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or well, so, because, while you're packing up, so Sam's church, it was sort of like, kind of popping around.
We started at All Angels. We started in 1972 at All Angels, renting space, just a bunch of Haitian immigrants that had just arrived, and a priest who, that's a whole other story, went to the bishop, and the bishop put him in touch with the rector of All Angels. How many people from All Angels that are here? Okay. So we, for 49 years, bounced around New York City, mostly on the Upper West Side, and then we moved up to the Bronx in 2002, renting space from other churches, and worshiping at 2:00 in the afternoon. And the end of 2020, St. Martha's Church in the Bronx closed. They said, we're done, we can't, and they made the decision to close their church. And Bishop Dici called me and said, would you be interested in taking this building? And the diocese will give it to you. And so I know, right? so we went there, and we looked at it, it was like, wow, and they took really good, it was, there was some deferred maintenance, but, not that bad. And we prayed about it, and we were like super nervous about this, because it's easy to like write a check for the rent, and you don't have to worry about things like shoveling snow or holes in the roof or whatever. And so that was, we said yes. We actually moved in a caravan of cars from St. Luke's in the Bronx, where we were worshiping, to this new church on Pentecost 2021, and I mean, it was amazing. And so we've been there now 2 years, and praise God. It's just, it's been such to have, and you know, if you, home ownership is important to everybody, but to immigrants, people who are here, like having their own place is really important. And so this was like a dream of theirs to have their own place, and now we have it. How big? In person and online together, about 70, I would say. So we'll probably have 35 in person today. And we have a very similar setup to what you have, the camera right there in the middle, and it's a surprisingly good quality stream. Like the cameras today are like, wow. So, and we got a grant from the diocese to, you know, help pay for all that, so. Yeah.
Because I just thought that was a really cool story, because like you hear about churches closing all the time, and the way that like them closing could really bless,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. This has been, I love your worship. I would come here. I was telling Melissa, if I were looking for a church, I would come here. Yeah.
well, it was really joy, and we will invite you back.
Good,
It'll be a one-time.
good, good.
Yeah.
Can we get a photo?
Yeah, totally can. Yeah. Hey, let me put that shirt on.
Excellent. So I gave Christine a T-shirt
A little selfie. You gave me this, this was fun.
that we had this.
This is the Episcopal Church crest. Yeah.
It's Episcopal, New York.
Very meta.